It's another medications I take for blood pressure, or it's a blood thinner, I think. $500 a month in the United States. Here it's like $30 a month.
We're bringing back our guest, Michael. We last spoke with him 4 years ago. He was living in a small town on about $500 a month. His inflation brought that up to about $650 per month this summer. And then he moved to a big city and he's living on about $1,000 a month. Let's see what he has to say.
So tell us, the thing that caught my eye about what you shared is that you're able to live in Brazil on 500 US per month. Tell us about that. Like, how much is your rent? How much are you?
I've got it all written down here.
Oh, wow. That's perfect.
My budget. Brazilian Constitution guarantees free access to healthcare to everyone, even if you're a tourist.
So you're in Brazil, right?
Yes. I'm in the state of Bahia, Brazil, in the northeast of Brazil, in a small city about 3 hours from the state capital, Salvador. Here in Brazil, you either live in a big city like every state has a big capital,
right,
or Sao Paulo or Rio, or you live in what's called the interior, the hinterlands. I live in the interior of the state of Bahia.
This is Dan of Vagabond Awake, and we have an old friend back. Michael, welcome back to Vagabond Awake. It's 4 years ago now. At that time, you were living in a small town, and you've moved to a bigger town. Well, welcome back, Michael. We're excited to hear your story.
Oh, yeah. A lot of changes. I was living in a small city about 4 hours from the city of Salvador called Santo Antonio de Jesus.
Yeah.
City of about 100,000 people. And this summer, August, I moved back to the city of Salvador, where I've lived many times before. I'm a big city person, so I wasn't totally 100% content out there in the boondocks, although life was cheaper out there.
Yeah.
But it's still cheap here in Salvador.
Yeah.
So I've been back now for 5 months, going on 6 months now in Salvador.
Okay. And you moved there for a little more excitement. Is that the main idea?
Yes. I'm originally from Manhattan, New York City.
Right.
And then I moved when I was 20 to San Francisco, California. So I'm a big city guy.
Right.
Never done well in small cities or small towns.
Yeah.
I crave the energy of a big city. So I'm thrilled to be back in Salvador.
So does Salvador, does it feel permanent to you now? Do you think you'll just hang out there, or do you think you might explore other parts of Brazil?
Good question. Well, I've always have a strong sense of wanderlust ever since I was a child.
Yeah.
So that never completely disappears, but I think I could live in Salvador for the rest of my life now. Right. I really, really feel like Salvador is my place. I'm 71 years old now, and I feel like I found a real home base here in Salvador. Now, will I still travel in my life? Yes, but I will always come back to Salvador. I will always maintain my home here. So that's how I feel about Salvador. And I'm a legal, permanent resident now. I don't have to jump through any hoops anymore. Once you turn, I believe it's 60, and you apply for permanent residency, if you're 60 or above, you get lifetime permanent residency. If you're younger, you have to reapply every 10 years, but I'm in that sweet spot. Never have to apply again.
Very cool. Very cool. So now just give, for people that weren't around during your first interview, how long ago did you leave the U.S. and what's a quick story about how long you've been outside in the United States?
I have been traveling internationally since I was 19 years old. Got it in my blood. But, and my focus was Latin America. I've been out many other places, but I focused on Latin America because I became a fluent Spanish speaker. And so I got to know almost every Spanish speaking country in Latin America except Costa Rica. I haven't been there yet. At some point, it was 1999. I was walking down the street in San Francisco and I met a Brazilian, just pure serendipity. And he invited me to come stay with him, his apartment in Sao Paulo. And I did for 2 weeks. Visited Rio de Janeiro, Sao Paulo, and I something happened. I got the bug. I got the Brazil bug. So that was 1999, and it's almost 2026 now, so almost 26 years. And I've lived here. I've traveled here. all of those years since 1999, and finally, 4 years ago, was eligible before, but finally got around to applying for permanent residency at the Brazil consulate in San Francisco. It was fairly easy. Took me about 6 months to gather all the information they want, all the documents. But within a week, when I submitted it all, they had it back to me, and I had a beautiful permanent residency visa stamped to my passport. That was 4 years ago.
Wow.
So I'm here now.
So was there like a monthly income requirement? How did that work?
No. Now, you can come live long-term in Brazil on various different kinds of visas, be it, I believe they have a retirement visa now, a nomad visa, a student visa, et cetera, et cetera. On some of those, yes, you do. There is an income requirement. I don't know what the number is, but that's easy to find. Just go to on the internet, the Brazilian embassy or consulate in your country area. I did not have to submit any income. Why? Because I qualified because I married a Brazilian citizen. I married a Brazilian years ago, way back in 2008.
Yeah.
So they didn't ask me. You know, my sole source of income now is Social Security. I get $1,500 a month and not a centavo more. So that's pretty low. Now, you know, my first love is Mexico. I lived in Mexico. I worked in Mexico, but I could not. I'm not eligible anymore for residency visa in Mexico because my income's too low. Mexicans gotten real high. They want like over $3,000 now. I can go there as a tourist, but I was priced out of Mexico, sadly. But Brazil welcomed me with open arms. It didn't ask me how much. All they required was a letter from my spouse stating that she was willing and able to financially support me. And it had to be, you know, notarized here in Brazil and written in Portuguese, which she did, of course. And that was it. They didn't ask for any proof or anything else besides that letter. It was a form letter, and she just filled out the names and number, and that was it.
Very cool.
You know, and of course, I don't ever expect my spouse to financially support me. I have my own source of income, and we're separated now, by the way.
Yeah.
Still the best of friends. I'm still part of the family, very much so.
Yeah.
And I'm applying for Brazilian citizenship in March.
Oh, wow. Congratulations.
I want that Brazilian passport.
So in our last interview, you were in a small town, really low expenses, if I recall right. And now you're living in Salvador, which is a big city, probably more expenses. Tell us about the cost of living difference between a larger city and a small town.
Look, there's no way to remove all risk from retiring overseas, but I've been doing it for 18 plus years, and I've interviewed hundreds of expats who've retired overseas. And I have a Retire Overseas course where I talk about most of the things that have gone wrong for myself and others. In that course, along with 300 reports, I also have a course that teaches you how to make money online. Into this video, I'll put a video that you can click on screen to find out more about that.
Tell us about the cost of living difference between a larger city and a small town.
Well, Salvador is the capital of the state of Bahia. It was once the capital of Brazil until that moved to Rio de Janeiro and later to Brasilia. But it's now the 5th largest city in Brazil. So it's a very large city of about 3 million. So of course it's going to be more expensive than the small city of San Antonio where I was living. A perfect example, and as I mentioned, I was paying $185 a month for a brand new 2-bedroom, 2-bath condominium with a Olympic-sized swimming pool and a gym, $185 a month. And here, my apartment where I'm sitting in now, I pay the equivalent of $365 a month for a 2-bedroom, 2-bath apartment. Wow. And, you know, so that difference, 185 for the small city versus 365 for big Salvador is kind of, you can get the idea, but still 365 for a 2-bedroom, 2-bath apartment in the best neighborhood in Salvador, it's still extremely reasonable.
Yeah. And so what about all in? Like what would all in be for that small town you're in versus Salvador per month on average?
It was more of a small city of 100,000, but yes,
Okay.
small city. My was about $650 a month was my total living expensive in that small city, including rent, food, utilities, entertainment, transportation. It came to about $650 a month. And now it generally comes to $1,000 a month here.
Very cool.
Now, so $1,000 a month, including my rent of $365, plus my electricity bill, plus food, transportation, and odds and ends that one needs in daily life. I feel comfortable spending $1,000 a month. I receive $1,500 a month in Social Security, so I've got that $500 extra additional as play money.
Now, Michael, since we had you as a guest, you've started your own YouTube channel. What's the name of it, and what do you like to talk about on there?
The name of the channel is Living Abroad in Brazil. Living Abroad in Brazil. I talk about my daily life here in Salvador. I give advice and tips about moving to Brazil or about moving to abroad in general. And the way I usually do it is I go on these long daily 2 or 3 hour walks. I walk and talk, and also show the city because this is a fascinating city. There's so much to see and do here. Never a dull moment. So that's the format, and the name is my YouTube channel is Living Abroad in Brazil. You're all invited. Come on, watch it, and
yeah, and
hit that subscribe button.
I'll put a link below this video. But let me ask you, what in a general sense, how is life different there versus the U.S.? I know it's been a long time, but how would you characterize the difference?
Night and day. Now, I'm from Manhattan, New York City, and I lived most of my adult life in San Francisco, California. So those are two exciting, interesting cities. But in general, the United States bores me. I'm sorry, my fellow Americans. But, there's the sameness, chain restaurants, car culture, everything's kind of new and modern. Here, the city of Salvador was founded in the year 1549. 1549. The city is almost 500 years old. It's like, it's very similar to traveling to Europe. You get buildings and architecture, culture and history that's 500 years old. So there's a richness, a depth to living in a place like Salvador that you don't have in the United States. And it's endlessly fascinating. This weekend, Saturday, I went to a festival. There's almost every day, there's something interesting going on. I went to a festival, and it was happening in a neighborhood I had never been in before, in front of a colonial era Portuguese style church that I had never seen before. And I've been living here and coming here to Salvador for almost 23 years now. How is it that I've never seen that church or that neighborhood before? I mean, that's what I love about Salvador. It's a feast. Whereas San Francisco, I love it too, but it was no longer a feast for me.
Yeah.
Nor was the United States.
One thing that people are thinking about retiring always ask about or worry about is medical. How is the medical and dental to the extent you've been able to use it?
Good question. For me, it's been fantastic. Now, medical is very expensive and complicated in the United States. Cost of living is high. But medical, well, miraculously, Brazil has a free public healthcare system. Yes, it does, just like they do in Europe, just like they do in Canada and other civilized countries. And it's called SUS, S-U-S. Anybody can use it. Even if you come in here as a tourist for 10 days, you are allowed to use SUS. I use SUS, and I've thankfully I've never needed brain surgery. But I use it. I have diabetes, and I had a stroke about 6-7 years ago, so I take quite a few meds. And I've had great experience with SUS. Now, being over 60, another great thing about Brazil, once you reach 60, you get all sorts of benefits. Free public transportation. I ride the bus for free. When I go into SUS medical clinic, I get top priority as a senior. As a senior, you get lots of priority in Brazil. So I've never had to wait more than 10 minutes. I know SUS, it's a public healthcare system. People complain that it's, overburdened, but as a senior, I've never waited more than 10 minutes.
Wow.
And I get taken care of, and I highly recommend it. I highly respect it. And I do go back to the United States once a year for about a month, back to San Francisco. And I because I'm 71, I'm Medicare age. So I do go get a complete workup at San Francisco General Hospital just for peace of mind. But it's not necessary. I get what I need here. And medications. Oh, you've heard of Ozempic. Everybody's taking it now for weight loss.
Yeah.
Well, I take it for diabetes. It's really a diabetes drug. In the United States, for what I take 1 milligram, it's almost $1,000 a month. It's unaffordable. And here it costs me for a monthly supply $200 a month. And Brazil is very aggressive about making drugs generic. And next year here in Brazil, Ozempic is going generic, so it's going to go from $200 a month to way, way down. I can't wait.
Very cool. Very cool.
And all of my other medications I take for blood pressure, or it's a blood thinner, I think, $500 a month in the United States. Here it's like, $30 a month. So
Wow.
so it's just, life is so much more affordable here.
So you're in a larger city now. You mentioned that
Yes.
you and your wife are still friends, but you're single now.
Yeah.
Are your dating prospects better there than they would be in a smaller town?
Yes, you've got a bigger pool of candidates.
Yeah.
I'm 71 now. I've been around the block. I've sown my wild oats. That's not what I'm looking for now. But yeah, when I was younger, it was wide open. And, you'll never have a problem getting a date here in Brazil or in Salvador. Be respectful and use your common sense. But yeah, that's not a problem.
Right. So finish this sentence for me, Michael. Don't come here if you think it's going to be...
If you think it's going to be quiet and tranquil, don't come. That's not Brazil. Brazil is high energy, which is what I love.
And do come here if you want
excitement, cultural enrichment, friendly, outgoing people, music, dance. If you want to be moving, and it's especially good when you're my age, you want to keep moving.
Yeah.
There's always something, and you won't get depressed. If you're feeling a little down and out at home, well, just walk out your front door. Example, yesterday, I walked out. I had no idea what was happening. 2 blocks from my house is where Carnival passes every year. Carnival's in February, of course. But yesterday, there was a pre-Carnival event. It was just like Carnival, the big giant trio electricos and people dancing and loud music and the energy and the excitement. And I just joined the crowd. And that's Salvador. And the day before was that interesting procession to that church.
Yeah.
You never have a dull moment in Salvador or anywhere in Brazil, really.
Very cool.
Any city, that is.
And so, tell us what kind of video are you working on next? You have what are you working on right now for your next video?
I'll include what I experienced yesterday when I walked out my front door.
Yeah.
Which is like a little preview of Carnival.
Right.
And then the rest of it will be what I always do every day. I walk. I'm a big believer in walking. I walk 2 to 3 hours a day, and I just like a stream of consciousness, whatever's on my mind, what I'm interested in, what I'm worried about, my observations. That's what my YouTube channel's like.
Yeah. Okay, everyone, the link will be below. Click the link, go on over to Michael's channel, check out his life over there in Brazil. And Michael, thanks so much for coming back and sharing your story again.
Thanks for inviting me.
We appreciate it. Take care.
All right, here's that video that talks about how you can save money on retiring overseas and reduce your risk.